was a little kid. I was given a sense that God wanted me, that there was a future with me and Him. He had things in store for me. I remember as a little kid loving Jesus Christ very much. Right around my preteen, teenage years, I fell into the world. I had, as a child, I remember fighting a lot. And my whole life was much like a war zone at times. My sister had Down syndrome, and my parents fought a lot. I found myself in the middle between them often. There was right around that transition into my teenage years, there was a lot of trouble, some really serious trouble. I started I was in some pretty serious trouble at a very young age, right from the get-go, before, you know, before I even got into high school. I was doing things that, you consider me as one of them. I was among the rough crowd, troublemakers, and kids that are up to no good, and we were, we were, but we're children, and I didn't know any better. Garbage that was being served from the world. And, at some point, I graduated high school and went on to college. And before that, I had lost my sister. And that was very difficult for me. I didn't know how to cope with things at a young age, but I had suffered a lot of abuse in a lot of different ways. and I didn't know how to cope with things I was dealing with in healthy ways. So I turned to drugs and alcohol and partying and, chasing girls and just trying to escape. And I didn't know that at the time. I was just numbing and running, so I didn't have to deal with what I was living in. And I can look back at it now. It's my way of coping. It's running from the reality that I was living in. Went on to college, and I had it together, and I would do really well at times, but my drinking was heavy. I was a heavy drinker, and I couldn't hold it together. I could for periods of time, but then it would just come falling down and come apart. There's a lot of failure, a lot of I was even getting in trouble with the law with my drinking. I had learned some of my lessons, and by then, and calmed down some from when I was a teenager, because I was really wild as a young man, and even into my college years, and that kind of went on for a long time. I got pretty far down that road of destruction, and it was a dark place. And I had been through hell several times over, even back then. I lost my father in my mid-20s, and he had Alzheimer's, and that was an experience that was traumatizing at times, and I loved it. It was very, very difficult for me when I lost my dad. And I can look back at it now, growing up, it was hard on me. But he loved me very much. It was hard on me because he loved me. And I was this rebellious, wild child. And he did the best he could. At the time I perceived it as, maybe he didn't love me, and, he was just always after me, but, near the end of his life, he had some near-death experiences where I saw just a change in him, that, he was, as I perceived this person who was just on me and after me, and really hard on me, and so on and so forth. And he became the most loving, kindest person I'd ever known. And that was very hard for me to adjust to. And this was after a near-death experience of his. And I watched that, and it was awful. I felt helpless, and but after that, he saw this man was just radiating love and light. Really loved me, and is so. And I resented that for a time. I had to adjust to that, and he had Alzheimer's, and he had passed, and I think today we would be best friends. We would have an awesome relationship, but back then we just, he was on one path and I was on another. But I wish he got to see me make it to today. You know who I am. He was a man of God. My family were all Christians. In our faith. I was the rebellious one. Prodigal son in ways. Things after my dad's death spiraled way out of control and got dark. I went down some dark roads, some places that, So in all that darkness, I did, I noticed, I started having dreams of the afterlife, and started having experiences, and I had experiences that I was becoming aware of the spiritual world, and I didn't know that at the time, but I was, beginning to investigate it, and I was very curious, and I believed in God. I believed in Jesus Christ, but I didn't know him, and I was wrong about a lot of things back then, though I thought I knew everything. And I stumbled around in the darkness for a very long time. Drinking was so destructive. Time and time again throughout my life, Lord, I believe he never left me from when I was a child. He saw me through all that. I shouldn't be here. It's only by his grace. He saved me time and time and time again. I have people close to me that they didn't make it. People that were close to me back then on that same road, they didn't make it. But grace of God, I'm here. And things got near the end there, and I kind of knew. I did have a sense deep down in my heart that God is real, Jesus is real, and I had this curiosity, and I started venturing off into the spiritual realm, the worlds, and just seeking out truth. I was looking for truth, and I was investigating and doing all kinds of searching in every which direction, and Don't do that. Do not do that. I went down some pretty dark roads. Not all spiritual things mean good by you. There's evil out there, real evil, and darkness, and I didn't know it. I didn't have the roadmap really, and I was just stumbling around in the darkness, searching the truth, searching for the truth, and deep down I believed in Jesus Christ, that he was God, and that he wanted me. That meant a lot of things. It meant I had to make some changes. I think near the end there, we'll call it my old life. That person no longer is. I think a year before I surrendered my life to Jesus Christ, I believe I know he was talking to me. He was speaking and he was reaching out to my heart and he's letting me know things are not going to get better until you make some changes. And about a year before I surrendered to him, I remember waking up, wondering how I was still alive. And after a night of just being wild, reckless, and partying, and that went on for about a year. And in the end there, I started seeing supernatural things occurring around me, and things were bad. They were really bad, and I could see plenty of God's warnings all around me. And I surrendered to him. I submitted to him. I said, Lord, I'm yours. I knew deep down, he was speaking to me. He had a better life waiting for me. There was hope for me. I surrendered to him. And I started walking in faith in the direction I believe he was telling me I needed to go. I checked myself into a rehabilitation center. Went through that process, though I'd gone through it several times before. This time, I was there because I wanted to be there, because I wanted it, because I was ready. Previous times, the court made me go, but I wasn't ready. This time I was. And I clung to Jesus. He walked me through the process. He brought me to the right people in the right places. And he healed me. He built me up. He educated me. He gave me some tools that I can use for my betterment, to better my life and the directions that I can start walking in that will help me out of the darkness and hell that was my life and got me on the right path. And I've been with him ever since. I didn't need to go searching anymore because I found the truth. And the truth has a name. He is Jesus Christ. And I'm here today because of him. He has never left me. He has made me a new man and has given me a new life. And he has worked miracles in my life. And he is so lovely and excellent and good. He's my everything. He's my best friend. If you do not know who Jesus Christ is or have a relationship with him, he is the Son of God, came to this world in the flesh, died on the cross for the sins of man, was buried, resurrected on the third day, and ascended into heaven. And all who believe on him have the forgiveness of sins, reconciliation with God, and everlasting life.